Hello everyone, it's my great pleasure to introduce our new paper, Individual and Group-Wise Classroom Sitting Experience, Effects on Student Engagement in Different Courses. First, I will introduce the background of this research. As we all know, sitting experience has played a very important role in affecting student engagement, attention, and academic performance in classrooms. Usually, different sitting locations provide different degrees of access to learning materials and resources, and it can affect student physical and mental comfort and their concentration in class. In this research, we will not only study how student sitting experience affects their perceived student engagement, but also how it affects the physiological-based student engagement. Our research questions are as below. First, how does the sitting proximity between students relate to their perceived learning engagement? Second, how do students' group sitting behaviors relate to their physiological-based measures of engagement? Unlike previous studies, our research has the following advantages. First, we examine how student sitting experience affects the physiologically measured student engagement rather than simply using the perceived student engagement. Second, we explore sitting behaviors using the exact sitting locations, while most studies only explore the traditional sitting arrangement. Third, we explore the student engagement at the group level, while others usually focus on the individual level. Fourth, we have identified some significant correlations between sitting behaviors and students' perceived and physiologically measured engagement. In this research, we conducted a field study in a high school in Australia, and the data collection lasts for 4 weeks and it covers 23 student participants. In total, we have collected the online survey data and physiological signals from Empatica E4 respondents. Also, the right figure shows the self-report questionnaire, and students can click the screen to annotate where they sit in the classroom. Also, our dataset has been released and you can scan the QR code to access our data. Next, we will show the overview of sitting experience. This figure displays the sitting location across different student participants. We found that different participants tended to have very different sitting preference. For instance, participant 8 typically sat close to the whiteboard, while participant 21 tended to sit in the middle of the back of the classroom. To better investigate the sitting locations of students, we divided student seats into different groups. After clustering, we identified 3 different sitting locations: back, right, and left. Next, we show an overview of the sitting preference for each participant, where different colors indicate the frequency of sitting in each area. For example, some participants, participant 10 and 21, usually sat in the back of the classroom, while some, for example, participant 6 and participant 16, sat the left or right. Interestingly, some participants, for example, participants 11 and 12, didn't have obvious preference for where they sat. Next, we show how the sitting preference of the participants vary by course. We found that participants often have different sitting preference in different courses. For example, participant 3 never sat in the back in politics or English, but usually sat in the back in math. Next, we show the overview of student engagement. The left figure shows the engagement score across participants, and the right figure shows the engagement score across courses in different sitting groups. Next, we show an overview of wearable signals across different courses. We can see that for some courses, we have collected many signal traces, while for some courses are not. Next, I will show the experiments conducted to understand how individual and group-wise sitting experience affect student engagement. The first study explores the relationship between sitting behaviors and perceived student engagement, and it answers IQ1. The second study explores the relationship between the sitting behaviors and physiological sequelae, and it answers RQ2. The last study explores the relationship between the sitting behaviors and physiological arousal, and it also answers RQ2. To study the relationship between sitting behaviors and perceived student engagement, first, we calculate the proximity of students and similarity of engagement using the given formula. The bottom figure shows the overall engagement and sitting distribution over 4 example classes. The points indicates the sitting locations marked by different participants, and a darker color indicates a higher overall engagement score. In particular, in the subfigure where class ID is 140, we find that points close together have similar colors. That is to say, students who sat close together tended to have similar engagement in this course. The left figure shows the number of the times the pairs of students appeared in the same class, where a darker color indicates that the pair usually sat in the same classroom. For example, participant 21 and participant 13. The right figure shows the average sitting distance between pairs of students sitting in the same classroom, where a darker color means that the two students usually sat far apart. The experimental results show that the similarity of engagement was significantly negatively correlated with the sitting distance, which shows that students who sat close together were more likely to have a similar learning engagement than students who sat far apart. Interestingly, when considered each individual, the correlation results vary among different participants. The potential reason for this may be due to the individual differences. For example, the engagement for some students may be affected by those around them, while for others, they may not to be affected by those around them. To study the relationship between sitting behaviors and physiological sequelae, first, we apply the pre-processing techniques including noise removal, filtering, and decomposition. And then we apply Pearson correlation analysis and study the impact of different courses. The following table shows the correlation results between the sitting distance and physiological sequelae over the courses. The result is quite interesting, and we found that the physiological sequelae can be depicted more accurately in math or language courses than others. We also observe significant correlations were mainly reflected in the mixed EDA and tonic EDA, and no significant correlation was found in phasic EDA signals. To study the relationship between sitting behaviors and physiological arousal, first we apply feature extraction, and we extracted features based on 3 categories, namely general engagement, momentary engagement, and sequelae. Unlike using physiological sequelae to identify similarities in engagement, it's difficult to intuitively compare physiological arousal because of the huge number of features. Therefore, we apply clustering to divide students into groups, and the groups were built based on the extracted features from all EDA signals. To study the impact of course and class length, we list the following table which shows the learning engagement of student groups with different courses and class lengths. It shows a significant difference in learning engagement in 2 student groups for short classes in the math course. The similar phenomena occurred in the short classes for language course and long classes for English course. This figure shows the average value of the EDA signals in different clusters for long and short classes. For short classes, results from t-test indicated that the 2 clusters were significantly different in perceived engagement. For long classes, we found that there were several peaks in cluster 1, indicating that there is a higher emotional arousal. Investigating how student sitting experience relate to learning engagement can help educators and policymakers improve student engagement in a variety of ways. The system may also provide learning tips for students and benefit teachers by enabling them to manage students more effectively. Okay, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Bye bye.